Hello, Mr. Chu here with Tray Arithmetic. We're going to talk about multiplying fractions, and I call this Tray Arithmetic Multiplying Fractions number 1. This is going to be my first video on this. So make sure that if these videos help you, that you like this video. You can also subscribe down here to the YouTube channel, and I'll do my best to explain it to you. All right. So anytime you're multiplying, you're automatically taught to multiply across the numerator. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there is a shortcut I'll show you. So you could take the numerator times the numerator over the denominator times the denominator. So that's going to equal 3 times 2, which is 6, over 4 times 9, which is 36. The problem is then you have to reduce this because this isn't in simplest form. So different people are taught different ways to do it, and I've shown different ways. One way is to break 6 into its prime factors. This is a little bit harder for some people. And 36 into its prime factors. And then you say anything that is common in the top and bottom is a common factor. And so I can divide the numerator and denominator by 2, and some teachers would call that canceling. I really don't like doing that. Divide them both by 3. And what do you have left? Well, there's nothing in the top, so there would be a 1 there. So your answer would be 1 over 2 times 3, 1/6. But you may say, but is there another way? There is. There is another way. It is a shortcut, and some teachers call this canceling. So I'm going to rewrite the 3/4 times the 2/9. And then I'm going to look at the numerator and denominator, and it can be either in the same fraction if it's not simplified, but it's usually at a diagonal. Is there any number I can divide 3 and 9 by? You say, well, yeah, I can divide it by 3. Well, that's one of these 3's that I canceled out here. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now, I cannot divide 1 and 3 by anything other than 1, so I can't do any more on that diagonal. What about 4 and 2? I can divide them both by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Well, right there is where that happened. Now we multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Well, you decide which way, because we're really doing kind of the same thing. The hardest part might be taking a number as it gets bigger, like 36, and writing it as all of its primes. All right, so now on example 2, a little bit harder now. Why is it a little bit harder? Because they're mixed numbers. When you're multiplying fractions, you have to change mixed numbers to improper fractions. You cannot do it without it other than using a calculator. So the way you do that, you take the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator. So I take 4 times 6 plus 1 over the denominator times the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator. 5 times 2 plus 4 over 5. Okay, so now I'm going to do this on this one line just to simplify it. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25 over 4, and that's equivalent to 6 1/4. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14 over 5, and that is equivalent to 2 4/5. Now that I have this number, we can multiply across, and then we can do the shortcut as well. So let's just rewrite it. 25/4 times 14/5. If I multiply across, it's going to be 25 times 14 in the numerator over 4 times 5 in the denominator. Well, I don't know what 25 times 14 is, but since this is an arithmetic class, there's nothing wrong with practicing that. 25 times 14. 4 times 5 is 20, carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Carry that one spot there with my 0, since I've already used my 4. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. And I add down to get 350. So I have 350 in the numerator over 20. 4 times 5 is 20. Now this is an improper fraction. So I have to take 350 and divide it by 20. So I take 350 and divide it by 20. 20 will not go into 3, but it'll go into 35 one time. 1 times 20 is 20. I subtract. Bring down my 0. 20 goes into 150 7 times. 7 times 20 is 140. And this is my remainder over 20. So it ends up being 17 and 10 over 20. 10 over 20 is an easy one. That's 1/2, isn't it? So it's 17 and 1/2. So you're saying, yeah, but was there an easier way? Yes, we can use this shortcut. So let's see what the shortcut looks like. So we have 25 over 4 times 14 over 5. So I look at my diagonal. Is there anything I can divide 25 and 5 by? You have to be able to think of that greatest common factor. Ends up being 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 25 divided by 5 is 5. Now I look at my 4 and my 14. Well, I can't divide by 4, but they're both even, which means I can divide by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So when I multiply across now, since I can't divide anything else by a common factor other than 1, so this ends up equaling 5 times 7 over 2 times 1, which is 35 over 2. So 35 divided by 2 ends up being 1. 7. Remainder 1, which is 17, and remainder 1 over 2. Same answer, 17 and 1/2. So if this is a helpful video, like it. If you think these videos help you, subscribe. This has been Trey Arithmetic, Multiplying Fractions. I'm Mr. Chew, and I want to help you learn the math. So keep watching my videos, comment, follow, subscribe, and I'll be happy to help you. See you next time.